This is an emerald old fashioned, and it takes that classic old fashioned formula and twists it up with a bit of herbal botanical notes to really make an interesting cocktail. Let me show you how to make it. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Matt, I'm the whiskey nerd, and like I said, this week I'm making an emerald old fashioned, which is a kind of a sweet, kind of herbal, very different take on that old fashioned while still being recognizably like your favorite kind of cocktail. I got the inspiration for making this cocktail recently enough. I was on holiday, I was out in the French Alps skiing, and I picked up a bottle of this. This is Génépi. This is Génépi des Alpes. It's like a liqueur, a herbal liqueur they make in the Alps using the kind of botanicals and flowers they can find there. And I was kind of wondering, what could I do with Génépi? And I was also looking at Keeper's Heart, which is a very good whiskey. It's not an Irish whiskey, it's not an American whiskey. It's a blend of Irish and bourbon whiskeys. And I wanted to let that character of the whiskey kind of shine through, because it is an interesting little mix of Irish and bourbon whiskeys. So I wanted to have a spirit forward cocktail, so I thought the two things combined together, let's make ourselves an emerald old fashioned using, well, Keeper's Heart, Irish whiskey, Génépi des Alpes, green chartreuse, and a little bit of honey syrup. Now, recipes you'll see online for an emerald old fashioned say that you should use the Génépi liqueur. They also say though you can substitute absinthe for the Génépi, because Génépi can be kind of hard to find. It can be a little bit kind of difficult to find except in France. But also I do love, it comes with a little cup on it, so you would bring this out with you on the mountain if you're skiing. But I'm not really sure you can substitute absinthe for this, because it's got that kind of aniseed, kind of herbal kind of note you would expect from absinthe, but much sweeter, much kind of lighter on the aniseed. Like absinthe, quite strong, quite forward, quite biting. This much lighter. Now it is 40% ABV, so it does have a good bit of like a kick behind it, but quite sweet, quite botanical, quite floral. I'm not really sure absinthe is an exact substitute for it, but if you can't find Génépi, which it might be hard for you to find, absinthe is, I'd say, the closest kind of substitute you might easily be able to find. The other main ingredient is, of course, chartreuse, green chartreuse. It's another kind of herbal botanical liqueur made by the monks at the Chartreuse Monastery, I believe. The Chartreusen monks, I think they're called. Comes in at 55% ABV, has a really, really distinct kind of green color. Very tasty, again, quite sweet and quite botanical. So we're not going to be going in with a lot of these ingredients. We're going to be going in with 60 ml or 2 ounces of our whiskey, and then only 5 ml each of those liqueurs, because again, quite strong, quite spirit forward, but they have a lot of character, they add a lot of flavor to the cocktail. And then just to add a little bit of extra sweetness, going in with again 5 ml of honey syrup. This is very simple to make, just 2 parts honey, 1 part warm water, stir it together until it's dissolved, and you've got honey syrup. So that's more than enough talking about the cocktail. Let's get to making it. It is a stirred drink, so we're gonna get our mixing glass and we're gonna pop a nice rock of ice into there, and then we're gonna measure out the rest of our ingredients. We're gonna start off with our honey syrup, because it's kind of thick and I don't want it to get stuck at the bottom of our little measuring cup. I've got this, it's from Difford's, very handy for measuring small kind of quantities, so it lets me measure 5 ml in there, nice and simple. And then I'm going to go in with my green chartreuse. Like I said, this is a very nice, sweet but very floral, very forward herbal liqueur. So again, only 5 ml of the green chartreuse into there, because otherwise we might overpower the rest of our ingredients. Next up, it's that Génépi. It's that Génépi liqueur, has this really nice floral aroma to it, but again, very, very sweet, very nice and easy kind of going, rather than that chartreuse, which is a little bit punchier, a little bit kind of more in your face. So that there was 5 ml of our Génépi. And next up, we're going to go in with our whiskey. This is going to be 60 ml or 2 ounces of our whiskey. Now, if you don't have a measuring cup like this, you just go in with a teaspoon. Like a little teaspoon is about 5 ml. So if you don't have a precise measure, you can just go in with 5 ml of your other ingredients, or 1 teaspoon. So this right here is 60 ml of the Keeper's Heart whiskey. Now, if you haven't seen my review of the Keeper's Heart whiskey, put that out on Wednesday. There'll be a link up there, there'll be a link down below for you to check out after this whiskey, after this kind of cocktail recipe, because it's a very nice, interesting whiskey. It's a mix of Irish whiskey and bourbon whiskeys, and it has this really nice kind of profile that's not really bourbon, not really Irish, but is very easy to enjoy. So we're gonna stir this cocktail down for about 20, maybe 30 seconds before we get ready to serve it. Okay, I can feel from the outside of the mixing glass that is nice and cold now, but we are gonna be serving it in a rocks glass on a fresh rock of ice, just to make sure it stays nice and cold and make sure it kind of dilutes and evolves as we drink the cocktail. So just gonna nice and simple pour it out, and it has this nice kind of, as you can see, not really like bright green, but it has this definite kind of green kind of hue to it. And that right there is how you make an emerald old fashioned. Now real quick, before I taste this cocktail, if you're new here, scroll down, hit that thumbs up button, hit that subscribe button. I put out cocktail recipes like this on Fridays. I put out whiskey reviews on Wednesdays. So if you want to see more, make sure you hit subscribe. And while you're there, let me know what cocktails you want to see me make in future, because I'm always on the lookout for new recipes. So let's launch it. It's interesting. It's very floral, very botanical, very sweet though. I mean, in my review of the Keeper's Heart, there's a lot of Irish whiskey in there. I did mention that it was quite sweet. It was kind of candied. There's like some candied apple, candied cinnamon, candied peanut note there, because there's a lot of sweetness. And that does translate through into the final cocktail, because you got this sweetness definitely coming through. You got a little bit of oakiness, a little bit of bite again from the whiskey, but you got so much more flavor coming through from the Génépi, from that green chartreuse. You got this herbal, botanical, floral kind of punch to it, but it's not overpowering, it's not bitter, it's not dry, it's just sweet. I think if I'd gone in with like 10 ml of those, would have completely ruined the cocktail. It would have been way too botanical, way too strong. As is, the 5 ml just gives you enough to add a bit of sweetness, add a bit of richness, and not overpower the cocktail and make it kind of too bitter or too kind of unpleasant. I think that herbal, botanical quality is actually kind of a good thing for this cocktail, because you gotta remember there's a lot of alcohol in here. I mean, the whiskey comes in at 46% ABV, the Génépi comes in at 40% ABV, the chartreuse comes in at 55%. So there's a lot of alcohol in here. It's quite boozy, quite spirit forward. So that kind of botanical note, that herbal note, encourage you to sip it slowly. Just take small sips and kind of let those flavors wash around your mouth, rather than just kind of downing it all in one go and probably not having a very good day. So I'm going to take small sips of this. I'm going to keep on enjoying it, and I will see you next time. Sláinte.